Hello students, welcome to the channel English 360. Today we are going to do a newly added topic to the syllabus of class 9 to 12th English, and that is case-based factual passage. Earlier I had made a video on case-based factual passage based on verbal inputs, and today in this video I will discuss case-based factual passage based on visual inputs. So firstly let us see what a reading comprehension is. Reading comprehension is the ability to process text, understand its meaning, and to integrate with what the reader already knows. So reading comprehension means that whenever we are given any unseen text, then we have to process that text, we have to interpret the meaning of the text, what is given there, and accordingly we have to derive the meaning from that passage. So how many types of questions are generally asked in reading comprehension? So there are different types of questions. Firstly, factual question. These are direct questions. You can directly look for the answer in the passage and you will find the answers there. Answers are given directly in the passage. Those are called factual questions. Main idea means that sometimes they can ask you about the central message or central theme of the passage. Okay, so you have to supply that. And sometimes they may ask you about the title, what may be the suitable title for the passage, so you have to provide the title also. And inference means that sometimes they can ask you to infer the meaning from the passage. The information is not given, the answers are not given directly in the passage. You have to deduce the meaning there, you have to interpret the meaning there, you have to read between the lines and then come up with some answer. And then there are questions related to tone, whether the tone is humorous or angry, and last but not the least the questions related to vocabulary, where you have to give the meanings of certain words. So here is an example of case-based factual passage with visual inputs. So this passage is about a case study related to the newspaper reading habits of some college professionals. So let us read the passage, and there are some important points which need to be kept in mind while doing a comprehension, which I have discussed in another video, so you can refer to that video. I have provided the link of that video in the description, and in the suggested videos also you can find that video. So newspaper reading habit not only creates a habit of reading but also opens the doors to self-improvement. The practice of reading a newspaper has been associated with improvement in students' attitudes towards reading overall. So it is mentioned that newspaper reading habit is quite important because it leads to self-improvement, and then when you inculcate this habit, when you start reading the newspapers, then it affects your attitudes towards or reading overall also. I mean, you just inculcate a habit of reading your books also by reading the newspapers. Therefore, a case study was conducted at the Apex College, Mumbai, to identify the newspaper reading habits of the college professionals, including graduates, postgraduates, and PhD students. So a case study was conducted at Reputed College in Mumbai to identify the newspaper reading habits of the college professionals there, who were graduates, postgraduates, and PhD students. The specific purpose of the study was to study thoroughly the reading habits of the 21st century Apex professionals in the college, UG and PG students, with the aim to identify their reading attitudes, purposes, preferences, and tastes. The data was collected using the questionnaire method. So the purpose of the study was to identify the reading habits of those professionals regarding their reading attitudes, their purposes, what was the purpose behind the newspaper reading for them, and what kind of articles, what kind of topics they liked in the newspapers, and their tastes related to the news. And the data was collected using a questionnaire method. A questionnaire is you can say there are certain questions written on a paper and which is given to the respondents to supply the answers. So those are called questionnaires. A total of 200 questionnaires were distributed among the professionals, and 143 filled-in questionnaires were obtained from the respondents. So 200 questionnaires were given to the professionals there, and only 143 could be obtained. I mean, only 143 persons responded. Rest of the persons did not respond. The collected information was tabulated by using statistical method, table and percentage, which is given below. Tables 1 and 2 clearly show the gender-wise and degree-wise distribution of questionnaires. Among the total of 143 respondents, males were 44.06% and females were 55.94%. So two tables are given to us, and which show us the gender distribution and degree wise distribution of questionnaires. So in the table 1, as we can see that there were 80 males, out of which 63 responded, 17 males did not respond, and out of 120 females only 80 responded. So that means out of 200 candidates there, 143 responded, and this percentage is given in terms of you can say number of questionnaires received by the total number of questionnaire received, and number of received questionnaires received by a particular segment like male or female. So this is the percentage given here accordingly. Thereafter in table 2 we can see that undergraduate students were 130, postgraduate students were 50, and PhD students were 20, and out of those 130, 50 and 20 professionals, 80, 45 and 18 respectively responded. So again total turns out to be 143. So these are the two tables given here. Then again there is a graph which indicates the choices of various topics in newspapers as preferred by the apex professionals. So there are various topics in the newspapers like admission, notification, sports, games, news, advertisement, employment. So the choice of various topics have been given here. I mean which professional liked which particular segment here. Okay, so the postgraduates have been represented in this violet color, undergraduates the color is red, and PhD students have been represented with green color. So you can see that there is a lot of variation in terms of choices of various topics in this graph. And then below figure shows the average choice of newspaper reading among these professionals. The respondents were allowed to prefer multiple responses. The newspapers under study were The Hindu, The Times of India, Mumbai Mirror, Dainik Jagran and Amar Ujala. So this pie chart and the percentage figure given here, these are in percentage, 32%, 22%. So this pie chart shows the different newspapers read by those professionals. So you can say 32% means Mumbai Mirror. So this green color highlights Mumbai Mirror. So Mumbai Mirror is that newspaper that is mostly read by the professionals, and then there is 25%. This color represents the Hindu, as you can see here. And after that we have, as far as the source of newspaper is concerned, 41.96% has mentioned they were reading library subscription newspapers. 97% professionals pointed they were reading individually subscribed newspapers, while 18.88% respondents mentioned their preference for the source of newspaper was online mode, while 7.69% mentioned the college hostel was the source of newspapers. So this study reveals that most of the students are in habit of reading newspapers, but still they are not aware of the advantage of online newspapers. So as far as the sources of newspapers are concerned, most of the students were reading the newspapers from the library subscriptions. After that they were reading from individually subscribed newspapers, and similarly they were reading from the you can say online mode, some of them, and some of them were reading from the college hostel. So this shows that students do read the newspapers, but still they are not aware of the advantages of online newspapers and news portals, which can spontaneously update their knowledge by providing latest and nascent information. Therefore, the library professionals must create more awareness of such news sources, and libraries must ensure that the students have access to a wide variety of newspapers, so as to enable the students to read their preferred newspapers and enhance their knowledge base, which can help them to be more productive in their academics and lead a responsible life in the society. So the library can play an important role here. Those professionals they can create awareness among the students regarding the news sources, and they can provide them access to a wide variety of newspapers so as to enhance their knowledge base, and thereafter they can become productive in their academics also, and they can lead a responsible life in the society. So here are some of the questions given based on this comprehension and the visual inputs. So the very first question is, which is the mostly read topic in the newspaper by undergraduates? So which is the mostly read topic in the newspaper by undergraduates? So we have to read this question very carefully. It is talking only of undergraduates and which is the mostly read topic by them. So there are various options given here: sports and games, business, politics and admission. So have a look at that graph where there is the mention of the topics read by different professionals. So as we can see that undergraduate color is red color, it is given here, and we have to look out for that red bar which is at the maximum height here. Okay, so as we can see that this red bar has the maximum height amongst all the bars here, and this particular column represents sports and games. So we can easily deduce the answer here. We can easily infer the answer here that undergraduates mostly read sports and games news. So the answer is sports and games. Thereafter, which two topics PhDs do not read at all? So PhDs do not read two topics. Okay, we have to tell those two topics. So there are options given: advertisement and admission, business and sports, sports and employment, business and politics. So the color of the PhDs is green. So we have to look for those categories in which the green bars are missing. So we can easily see that in this particular category and in this category green bars are not there, and in rest of the categories it is present. So these two categories are of sports and games and then business. So again our answer is that in sports and games and in business they are not interested. PhDs are not interested and they do not read these news at all. So the answer is business and sports. Third question is, which two newspapers are mostly read? So two of the newspapers are mostly read and we have to tell those newspapers. So we have to have a look at the pie chart. As we can see clearly in this pie chart that the maximum percentage is 32 and it represents Mumbai Mirror, because the green color is of Mumbai Mirror here, and the next highest percentage is 25 and this color is of the Hindu. So Mumbai Mirror and the Hindu are the mostly read newspapers. So it is very clear from this pie chart. So the answer is Mumbai Mirror and the Hindu. Which professionals showed most interest in responding to the questionnaires? So in our two tables the professionals were mentioned there, and how many professionals responded in terms of total professionals and how many of them responded. So we have to look at that table. So in this table we can see that total undergraduates are 139 and out of those 80 responded. Okay, then total postgraduates are 50 and out of those 45 responded. That means 90%, 45 by 50 into 100, and 90% PGs responded. And similarly we can say out of 20 PhDs 18 responded. This is again 90%, and undergraduates percentage is less than 90. So you can say the most enthusiasm or the most interest was shown by PGs and PhDs, and both were equal in their response. So the answer would be both B and C, PhDs and postgraduates. Then is, as per the passage, what efforts can be taken to increase newspaper reading among students? By providing access to wide variety of newspapers. Yes, it was there that they can be provided access to the wide variety of newspapers, and by creating awareness among them about new sources of newspapers. This point was also given there. By telling them the advantages of reading newspaper, yeah, this was also there. And by making newspaper a part of their curriculum, no, this was not mentioned anywhere. So our answer would be first 3 points are valid. So wherever we find these 3 points in option B, it is given that 1, 2 and 3. So option B would be the correct answer because first 3 points are valid here. Then is next question, is there a gender bias in the sample under study? Gender bias is prevalent where the sample is not representative of the population. Suppose the ratio of male and female in the population is 5:4 and that is not reflected in the sample, then there is said to be gender bias. Here females are 120 and males are 80. That means that ratio is somewhere around 4:6, or you can say 2:3. But in actual scenario in Mumbai there is skewed gender ratio where males are more than female. So we can say that to some extent this sample is gender biased. So the answer would be B. In 7th question, as per the passage, what may be the possible reason or reasons for most of the students to read newspapers in hard copy? So as we read in the passage that most of the students read the newspapers in hard copy, and the habit of reading online newspapers is not that much dominant there. So the possible reasons have to be told here. Lack of awareness, yeah, this was one of the possible reasons. They didn't know about online portals which provided instant news. Library subscriptions being the major source of newspapers, yeah, you can say most of the students used to read the newspapers from library subscriptions. So I think online facility was not available there, and both A and B, and none of the above. So again, a definite answer is both A and B, because lack of awareness was also there, and most of the students had enrolled in library subscriptions. So this was your case-based factual passage based on visual inputs. I hope that you understood this topic, and if you like this video, then please do subscribe the channel English 360 and share this video. Thank you.